YouTube. I'm here again with another review. This is book review number 2 I'm going to be doing. That book is Lauren Oliver's Delirium. This is another book that's come out in the wave of dystopian romance. Delirium was published February 1st of 2011, which is this year. Lauren Oliver is the writer. She also wrote Before I Fall, which I haven't read. So this is my first Lauren Oliver book. Here comes the synopsis. I'm going to read you the little blurb on the inside flap. 95 days and then I'll be safe. I wonder whether the procedure will hurt. I want to get it over with. It's hard to be patient. It's hard not to be afraid while I'm still uncured. Though so far the deliria hasn't touched me yet. Still I worry. They say that in the old days, love drove people to madness, the deadliest of all deadly things. It kills you both when you have it and when you don't. So, that doesn't really tell you much. Delirium is basically a dystopian world in which people at a certain age of their life, as they're exiting high school, moving on to college, should they so choose to go there, have their love removed. The ability to love is removed from their brain, and they kind of float through life feeling indifferent to a lot of things. So that's the premise of Delirium. And this is the first in a series Lauren Oliver is doing. The next one's called Pandemonium, and the last one's supposed to be called Requiem. Now, the titles may change, but as of now, that looks like what they're going to be. Pandemonium isn't supposed to come out till next February, and I'll tell you one thing, I'll be looking forward to it. Here we go along with the review. In Lauren Oliver's Delirium, you'll be following Lena, who is the main character, a few months prior to her operation to have the ability to love removed from her brain. Because this is the standard for the society, and this is what makes this society a dystopian one. Everyone at the age of, I believe it's 18, has their ability to love removed because they consider love a disease. They call it amore deliria something, but it's actually classified as a disease. And so yeah, we follow her a few months before she gets this procedure. And it starts out, she's at her evaluation, which is going to pair her with someone, so it's kind of like Matched in that respect. You take a test and you're paired with the person that you're going to be most compatible with. So she goes to the evaluation, only things kind of go a little strange. And she sees this boy there, and he's kind of laughing at all the strange things that are happening. And this all sounds very vague, but I don't want to give anything away. In Lauren Oliver's Delirium, there aren't too many things that happen, but as far as twists and turns go, not many twists in the story. There is one big one that I was kind of almost expecting, but it wasn't the main focus of the story, so I wasn't like, oh god, I knew that was going to happen. It was more like of a, I kind of figured. So, not bad, but not a great twist there. But still, I enjoyed this book thoroughly. There were some slower parts near the middle, actually. The beginning I flew through, the middle I kind of trudged through, and the end I flew through. And when I'm flying through a book, that means I'm really enjoying it. I don't want to give much away about the plot, so I can't really say anything more. I wish I could. The premise, to me, is very original, very fresh angle. And while it reminded me of Matched, I didn't really like Matched that much. I enjoyed this book much, much better. The prose in this book is very, very good, very evocative of images. I enjoy prose like this. It's very beautiful. The pacing's good. As I said before, the middle was a little slow for me because it was kind of like they hit a point where things were good for a while, and I feel like that could have been shortened a little bit. But I did read through it, and I did manage to get through it without too much trouble. It wasn't like I was like, oh my god, when will this end? It was more of a, let's have something happen right now, okay? Because I'm getting a little bored of reading about how awesome your life is right now. I enjoyed Lena as the narrator. I can relate to her, though I still feel a little distance. But in some respects, she's actually like me, so I did enjoy reading her and pointing out all of her flaws because I have those flaws, and I enjoy pointing out my own flaws. Dialogue in this book was very good. I never had a problem with it. It never seemed stilted. It always seemed very natural, very flowing. Each character had their own different pattern of speech, different way they would say things, so it characterized very well. Descriptions in this book at times I felt could get a little lengthy, but the ones that I felt were necessary were very, very beautifully written, so I did enjoy Oliver's writing style. The whole idea about Lauren Oliver's Delirium is indifference. In fact, one of the lines in the book has something along the line of, hate is not the most terrifying thing, indifference is. And that really struck a chord with me because, you know, the more I thought about it, the more true it became for me. And maybe that's just because I was reading this book and it was a very apparent theme was indifference. But hatred can bring something good. If we hate bad things, then we're going to do everything we can to try and stop them. If we hate good things, then that's going to bring about bad things. But there's a balance there. But indifference, you are the balance. And with indifference, if you don't hate people who beat other people up, you could see someone beating the crap out of someone else on the street and, just pass by it and not care. And like the bystander effect, oh, someone else will take care of it. I don't really care. It's not my problem. Indifference is very scary for me, and that's what this book kind of revolved around as the theme. And Oliver did a very, very wonderful job of conveying that. And it made it very scary that these people could be so indifferent as to what was going on around them and so ignorant, and they just didn't care. And the people that were indifferent were the ones that were cured of their love. Those were the people that were indifferent. And the whole idea of the procedure is to make you a happier person, is so that you can live your life happily. But really, what Lena ends up finding out is that really it's just to take away your freedom. And the last thing I want to talk about is characterization. While I didn't get much of a sense of Lena herself, I did feel connected to her because I felt like I was being dragged along in her story. Because she doesn't start off as one of those people that's like, oh, I don't trust the government. I need to resist what's going on because it's wrong. She doesn't start off as one of those people. She's one of the sheep, so to speak. She's one of the people who believes in what her government is doing and takes safety in that, takes safety in the world she's living in, that she'll be cured and she'll be happy. She just trusts in everything without explanation. And what I love about Lena is that slowly, as the story goes on, you gradually get to see more and more points where she's like, oh, well, maybe that's not right. Or where she's like, do I really trust this? Is this really what I believe in? And she starts to question herself. The thing I didn't really enjoy was that it took a boy for her to completely kind of change her mind and be like, oh, everything in this world is wrong, or everything in this world has been a big lie. It's all about indifference and oppression. Another thing I really like about Lena is that in this book she's described as being indifferent, which is the whole kind of theme. As I've said before, I keep saying it, but her appearance is even indifferent. She doesn't describe herself as pretty or as ugly. She's just kind of there. And this is emphasized by the fact later on someone that is supposed to be attracted to her actually calls her ugly in a sense, or makes an insinuation that she's ugly, and she hears it. And that for me just emphasized the fact that she was very normal, and she's a very normal character, and I like that she's not so gorgeous that all the guys are chasing her. She's just one of them, which makes her change even that more dynamic and fun to read through. As far as the boy Alex goes, the one she falls in love with, I liked him. I didn't really have a problem with him. He didn't stick out all that much to me. But that's not to say he wasn't just there the whole time. He was his own character. He has his own feelings and thoughts. Their love story is actually kind of cute. Maybe to some it's kind of creepy, but for me, the way they began and the way he was kind of attracted to her before she really knew him, that's exactly what happened to me in my current relationship. And so I can see how someone can connect to this, but I can also see where it can be creepy to someone, because if someone's looking at you from afar and you're just completely unaware of it, and they're like, I kind of like them, and you're like, I've never acknowledged your presence in my life, I can see how that's kind of weird. The other characters, Aunt Carol, I kind of wanted to hit her all the time, but I guess that's what you're supposed to be. They're all so in the middle, and I guess that's a good thing. All the people who've been cured of their love, all those characters are so indifferent to everything, and they just don't care. It disturbs me a little bit to hear descriptions about them before they changed and then after they change. It would really be a terrifying world to live in. And I really liked Hannah, Lena's best friend, because she's not one of those sheeps. She was one of those people who thinks for herself. With all that being said, I gave it 4 stars out of 5. I really couldn't decide because I did have a few quibbles with it as far as some of the slow parts go, some of the questions I had that weren't really answered. Like, the span of time in which we go from now to this dystopian future is a very, very short amount of time, and it's hard for me to kind of grasp that and believe it. And I want to know how they remove a love from someone. It has something to do with taking out a part of the brain, but I want to know how it happens. I need science behind my reasoning in these dystopian novels, and if I don't get it, I'm left a little unsatisfied. But for this book, mostly satisfied, just a couple of things I didn't like. Overall, I really enjoyed this book, and I could see myself reading it again, so I think you should really pick it up if you're in a dystopian mood. That's the end of my second review. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.